I wanted
Thank
to
you.
ask a question that I can get off to free it up. I'm 65 years old and I've been doing this for so long and for many decades. And, I listen to you and everybody on the YouTube channel and Muji a lot. And I understand what awareness is and the difference between awareness and then what we normally perceive as who we are, our thoughts and perceptions and all that. I,
Mm.
I, I really get that. And sometimes during my meditation, it helps me to create that mental framework so that I can eventually let go of it. Um, my question to you is regarding, for someone, how do you put into perspective maybe something in our lives that we've been struggling with our whole life, something that we want or that we want to get rid of, but I'm not talking about a laundry list, maybe just one thing.
Mhm.
And my perspective is that whatever bothers me the most is really how can I transcend that, and what what meaning can I give myself to give value to this challenge in my life instead of feeling like I'm a victim to feeling like I'm a loser and all these losing in terms of this issue and feeling negativities about it. And that's it. And then
Yeah.
I can, if you want me, I can get off.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for your question. I really appreciate it. And it's so funny how sometimes people ask questions and it's something that's been coming up in my life. Like, so this question actually came up this morning between um, another person and myself. I don't want to expose the other person, so it's like trying to think how I define them. And it's to me it's like a psychological issue. It's not to do with non-duality, but what can happen is the psychological issue can be confused with seeking, and the person thinks if I get rid of this psychological issue, then I will be happy and I will be at peace. So that's the part. The seeking energy is the part where it's related to non-duality, but the psychological issue is the issue, like your brain is producing thoughts and your body is producing sensations that are opposed to certain experiences or opposed to certain issues. And then there is a seeking energy that comes up that then believes that happiness will be found if you don't have that issue. And that's not true. And that can extend to all types of things. So, so say if in childhood you had a lot of trauma, you didn't have very stable parents, then your conditioning is maybe going to be more difficult than somebody that had more stable and loving parents. So you're going to have more attachment issues. Maybe there'll be more issues with close relationships. And maybe it's something that you'll have to work on your whole life, because those first 4 or 5 years of childhood are maybe very strong in growing the way that your body responds to things. And the acceptance of that can sometimes be very difficult, because you might perceive that if you weren't like that, then you would be happier, and that's not true. Happiness and freedom comes from presence, not from behavior and not from particular conditioned responses. Like I have difficult behaviors in certain situations. Like I didn't always have a secure childhood, and so I have to work on relating with people in the way I will relate with people, and that's most probably a lifelong endeavor that I'll have. And that's okay to have these painful responses, to say if somebody treats you in a certain way. So my issue can be triggered around fear of people. So if people treat me in a certain way or speak to me in a certain way, then I can have a fearful response, say, and then I can be triggered into like something like freeze or pleasing, or avoiding, like these different responses. But that's not happiness. That's what our bodies do. That's not freedom. Freedom is recognizing that who you are is this consciousness. This is a pattern that runs in the body. And when you clearly see that you don't have to get over these issues, you don't have to get over these feelings to be free, all of that can be embraced. There's no shame in that. It's just, it's not even luck, because luck implies separation. It's just the way things happen. You know, the karma that you get from your childhood, or the karma that happens through your parents and through your family line. It's simply the karma, and there's nothing shameful or wrong about that. And every being is perfect. There's not, like, people that had healthier childhoods are not more free. They're not better people, or they're not happier people necessarily. They maybe have an easier time in relating, but that's not freedom. Freedom is presence. The reason that it gets confused is that these dynamics often create a lot of seeking. And the seeking is the belief that you've got to get rid of them, that you mustn't experience that discomfort, that you mustn't be that. Like, every part of you is welcome. I feel so sad sometimes when I think about Khaleesi. I have a dog called Khaleesi. And Khaleesi didn't have the easiest beginning in this life. And I'm sure I was a contributor to that. Like, she was a street dog, and her family got run over and squished. And then the person that was feeding her didn't want to feed her anymore because they didn't want a dog. And then my friend brought her to me and then said, you can have a dog, but I didn't want her because I was living in Thailand for half the year and then going back to Europe, and I didn't want a dog in that situation. So then when she came to me, this traumatized puppy, then I was trying to look for a different home from her, and I didn't really want her. And then I couldn't find anyone else that wanted her, because she wasn't exactly always very friendly, and you know, she's a street dog and people don't want street dogs. And so then I brought her back to Europe, and I think this was traumatizing for her as well. And when I look at her, like, I can see her traumas very clearly, and I can see the ones that I created in her, and the ones that were created from being a street dog. And I think that would be so sad if somebody taught her that that was wrong, that those reactions were wrong. Like, every part of her is welcome. It even makes me feel a little teary now. So she has trauma with other dogs. So when she sees other dogs, not all other dogs, but some other dogs, I can see her heckles instantly go up. But we've worked a lot, and she doesn't normally like bark or growl at them anymore. But I can see there's fear there, the heckles go up. And like, I'd feel sad if like another dog taught her non-duality, and she began to believe that in order to be free, or in order to be a good dog, she shouldn't have that fear. That fear is a part of that being and that experience now. And however long that she has to express that, like, I love her and life loves her. It's so welcome. It makes me teary to think of it, actually, and it feels sad that non-duality does that in a way. It makes us think that we've got to get rid of things. But she's such a perfect expression, every part of her. How does that make you feel when I say that?
Relieved. Open. I'm aware. I understand now.
Yeah. And so also, when you have these feelings that want to reject part of yourself, just notice that consciousness isn't rejecting that. It's never rejected it. There's something that's conscious of that, and it's absolutely embraced. There's no part of you that needs to be rejected. No matter what it is, no matter how gross or horrible we think it is. Consciousness doesn't turn its back. It's total unconditioned love. Your essence, what's looking, is unconditioned love. It's like an expression of love. Like this world is, it's like all things happen, the good, the bad, the right, the wrong, the ugly, the beautiful, and consciousness holds all of it equally.
Well, Lisa, as I said, I respect you very much, and you have a good heart, and I like listening to you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your question. Lovely to speak with you. Thank you. Bye.